I'm Naomi Brodkin. This is my second year at Book It as a marketing and development intern. I am a student at Northwestern University in Chicago, and I'm studying theater. The first half of John Irving's The Cider House Rules really focuses on the orphanage at St. Cloud's. It examines the life of the orphans, and it weaves between Dr. Larch, who is the head of the orphanage, and the abortionist/midwife for St. Cloud's, and the life of all the orphans. We see Homer Wells, who becomes one of the protagonists, go from infancy to the age of like 20 in the first half and follow all of his trials and tribulations. I think The Cider House Rules is a great book for young people because the themes it addresses are really universal. It talks about growing up, growing old, love, in both the familial and the romantic senses, and really finding your place and your opinions and your values in life. Also, Irving really paints with his words. When I read The Cider House Rules, I felt like I was at the orphanage in St. Cloud's. It's a very tangible world that he creates, and I think that really appeals to young readers. I think The Cider House Rules really lends itself to the Book It style of adaptation because John Irving's writing really rests in his descriptions. The story is told as much in what is not said between the characters as what is, and you'd really lose that if you didn't have the Book It style of storytelling. I'm really looking forward to seeing how Book It handles the transition between the orphanage at St. Cloud's and the apple orchard at Heart's Haven. When reading the book, I envision that transition almost like in The Wizard of Oz when it goes from black and white to Technicolor. Those worlds are so different in tone that it'll be really interesting to see how Book It emphasizes that through staging and costumes and all the technical elements. I am thrilled that Book It is willing to tackle such controversial but important issues. I started reading the book assuming Irving would take a really strong stance either for or against abortion, but I found that he really sets up the book in a way that allows you to consider the issue from both sides of the fence. His two main protagonists find themselves on opposite sides of the issue, and you are really forced to question your allegiances. They can't just be based on opinion. They're really emotional ties to the characters. It's a struggle.
I think this was mostly instigated by Myra.
I did.
Yeah.
I instigated it.
Yeah.
But partly because it was such it started us off in a big way when Jane was involved with it initially, because she was taking on work that at the time Book It couldn't do. We were doing strictly short stories, and so Cider House was the first novel and that was done in the Book It style thanks to Jane.
So it's had a huge journey, and we've been involved with it for a really long time, and it was a really
It was one of the big pieces that sort of woke Seattle up to the fact that Book It even existed. It's really a story about family and where you find your family, whether it's your own family or your adoptive family or an extended family of sorts, of friends.
I think it's impossible to not get right to the heart of the matter, which is the great polemic of a woman's right to choose, is truly at the heart of the story. And it's right, it's very visual, it's muscular in this adaptation. It's graphic. And I think that it forces everyone to respect a great value that people hold dear to them as to whether or not they believe in a woman's right to choose.
What's interesting is that it's from a young man's point of view, and it doesn't take one position and just put that forward. It shows both sides of a very complicated issue.